Should now be live. What's up, Talos of Tech? How's it going, Apple Sheep Army? It's Friday the 13th. There's 30 minutes left of Friday the 13th anyway. Sorry, yeah, we're not streaming on a Thursday night. For those of you who didn't catch it, sadly, last night I had everything set up. I got the set all choreographed and I got the lights all ready and the cameras all ready. Hi, Abood. Hi, Ricky, Robert, Stefano. Hi, Anthony, Daniel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So yesterday, sadly, I had everything set up, and then about 30 minutes before we went live yesterday, at 11 p.m., Xfinity just shut off. And believe me, I tried everything. I tried resetting the modem, I tried resetting the router, I tried leaving it off for a while, turning it back on. I called Xfinity, got them to reset it from their end, and it fixed it temporarily, and then it died again. But so far, it's been working just fine all day. It's Saturday the 14th for where you are, but for me, here in California, we have 30 minutes left of Friday the 13th. So hopefully, if I do get murdered by Jason, it will be live, because the next 30 minutes of my day will be live streamed here. How's everyone doing today? Yeah, I'm sorry, I really wanted to do it yesterday. I was really looking forward to it, but I couldn't. The internet was flat out gone, and it was on Xfinity's end. There was nothing wrong with my modem or my router. But it appears to be working now, so hopefully it doesn't die on us. So far, it's been working fine. It's been working fine so far all day today. It's been just as fast as usual. Better now you are streaming. Yes, great. Friday is better. Today is better. Yes, that's correct. California, that's where I am. I'm 2 hours away from Apple headquarters. Isn't that kind of weird to think about? Like, we're always reporting on all these things Apple's doing and studying, and it's all being done like 2 hours from where I am. It's all happening right there. Isn't that weird? You rock soars. I hope that's a compliment. How's your day, Drew? It's been good. I actually just got back from roller skating with my girlfriend. I still even got the number on my hand. I had not roller skated since the 4th grade, so that was an interesting experience. I only fell down 3 times. Everyone claimed that I fell down really, really bad, but I didn't think it was that bad. I feel fine. I feel fine. But if you want to see the footage of me, attempting to roller skate at CalSkate out in Chico, subscribe to Talos of Talks, because that will be in the next vlog, which was filmed on the iPhone 8 4K at 60, which is being wirelessly charged from a mobile battery pack, which is really cool. This battery pack also can be charged wirelessly on the bottom. So this is a portless battery pack. Even though it has ports on it, you don't need to use them, because you can charge it wirelessly and you can charge your phone wirelessly on it. It does support USB-C, USB-A, and micro USB, and it's 8,000 milliamp hours. But I'll talk all about this in tomorrow's video, but because you're watching it live, you get a little sneak peek. Let's do it again. Oh, so satisfying. Anyway, what's the name of that pack? All I searched was mobile wireless charger, but the actual company name is Zonv, which is kind of hard to pronounce. I'll write it in the chat here just so you know what to look up. But Zonv, that is the name of the company. And so far it's been working great. I'm very, very satisfied with it. Hey, will you ever get 100,000? Social Blade thinks I'll hit around 100,000 subscribers in March. But oftentimes they've been wrong. We've been later than what they've expected, and we've also been earlier than what they've expected. So hopefully we'll hit 100,000 before March and beat Social Blade, but it could be later. I don't mind. What's the best dongle you recommend for the MacBook Pro? From personal experience, now this does come with a bit of bias because this company did send it to me, but the adapter I'm using right now to allow me to plug in my old microphone and older USB ports here is from a company called Quack, and I'll also write that one in the chat so you know what to look up. Quack, nope, autocorrect is big. All these companies have bizarre names. Quack, is that how you spell it? I think that's how you spell it. Quack, which sent me this dongle, but ordinarily it's around $50 to $70, which is a lot, but it really kind of brings back every port people missed, as well as adds a few new ones. So you get 3 USB ports, traditional ones, 3.0. You get an HDMI port that is capable of outputting 4K. You have a power port, so it doesn't have to take up your charge cable. And it also has SD card slot and micro SD card slot and Ethernet. So basically everything people complained about the most, it brings back, and I've really loved it. I've used, yeah, it's a weird name, I know. It's a ducky dongle. I've used many other dongles before that were cheaper, and usually I ran into problems. Whereas this one, no matter how many things I plug into it at once, I've never ran into an issue with it. I've had power, I've had 3 USB cables plugged in, and an HDMI cable, and an SD card slot at the same time, and it can still do it. And it really does kind of show off the power of what USB-C can do, because all of that is being powered through one single port, which is pretty impressive. So it is expensive, but I think it's worth it. I only have one, and I only really need one. Hey man, could you put a few lights at your place? Videos are a little dark. I'm sorry, I actually am using 4 lights right now, believe it or not. But I kind of get annoyed when oh, there's super chats. Yes, I'll get into those. I get annoyed with channels that have white backgrounds and super bright lights. So I'm actually okay with mine being a tad darker, but yeah, I apologize if it's too dark. Turn your brightness up. But especially with the new YouTube design, everything is just solid white now. There's barely any color to it. So when there's white, solid white videos too, it just gets over. Yes, the Apple fan was the first super chat, and he just did the Apple logo. Thank you for your donation. iTraverse says, should cellular be open to all third-party apps? I think it should, and I think that is Apple's intention. The issue is it's not up to Apple, it's up to the carriers, because carriers don't want to have a set price for data for the Apple Watch. Well, they do. They have to. So basically, if you want cellular on your Apple Watch, Verizon and AT&T, for the most part, have said that you get the first 3 months free, and then after that, it's $10 a month. So that's not very much, but the reason they don't charge very much for data on the Apple Watch is because they know you're not using a web browser and you're not watching videos. So there's very limited to what a watch can do anyway. That's why they want to keep prices low. And I think that's fair. I don't think a ton of people want to pay a lot for their watch data plan, because iPhone data plans are already pretty crazy. And then there's already iPad cellular as well. So I think it should be open, because I just don't think that third-party apps on the Apple Watch do very much anyway. So it doesn't make really much of a difference if they're using cellular or not. So I don't see it being worth it. Zach Tech Review says, hey bud, thoughts on Qualcomm's beef right now? It's a lot of hype. Well, not really hype. It's a lot of big talk, but I think little action. I think what they're asking for about like not producing or selling iPhones in China, or producing or selling them, that's a stretch. They're not going to win that. They've made giant accusations like that before, and we're like, could this be the end of iPhone production? No, it's just they aim high in lawsuits because they know they're not going to pass, so they get something lower. They just want money. They're not going to get what they're asking for. Don't worry about that. But yeah. Finally, an Apple fan who can stand his ground. Yes, that's what I'm going for. T-Mobile allots for 500 megabytes for your smartwatch line, $10 per month starting. Okay, so they have a data limit. It's like, you're not going to use that much data on your watch, though. Like, how much? They're out to lunch. Love Qualcomm, but they're out to lunch on this. Yeah, lots of people sue Apple, really, for anything, because they know they have a ton of money, so they know they'll likely get something out of it. So it's an easy win. Yeah, 13 days until pre-order night. Oh my God, the time is just flying by. It's already been a month since the last one. Wow, time's just flying by. Yeah, iPhone 10 pre-orders are now, wow, they're less than 2 weeks away. This is coming fast. I'm still really nervous. I'm worried about the jerks out there who are going to buy up the iPhone 10 like silver and gold and try to sell it at a higher price to make a buck. I'm concerned about that, and I'm also concerned that it's just a super cycle and lots of people are going to want to buy it, and I'm not going to be able to afford one. That's going to be... I'm still stressed about that. I'm really going to be able to breathe and kind of relax a bit when I can see iPhone 10 pre-order will be ready for pickup on November 3rd. Then I can be like, okay, it's ready. It'll be ready. I can go to the Apple Store on November 3rd and I can pick it up. Then I can relax. Right now it's just very stressful because I know I'm going to have to try to refresh and tap through the Apple Store app as fast as possible. Why is Google so bad at software? They changed where the live chat is on laptops. Now the live chat box is under the video rather than next to it. First world problems. P.S. Congrats on 50,000. Thank you very much. I didn't realize they changed it. I didn't realize that either. But I don't like the idea of having chat go over the screen anyway because usually it doesn't look good. There's not really a good place. There's not usually intentionally a place live streamers have room for chat messages. But typically if you're live streaming, the app you're using it in has a space for chat messages. So I don't get why they mess with that so much. What's the cheapest Patreon fee? Well, you can donate. If you went to the Patreon, you could check this out. But you can donate $1 a month, and you'll be eligible for giveaways, as well as the shout-outs and the sneak peek stuff you get on the Patreon page. But that's about it. I mean, it's $1 a month. Come on. $12 a year. Don't expect that much. Okay. Too many emojis, guys. Knock it off. What is your impressions about RAV Power Wireless Charger, and will you do reviewing video about it? Is it worth $39.99? So yeah, I've been using the RAV Power Charger ever since I got my iPhone 8, and it's been working fine. But the big promise of the RAV Power is on the future, because Apple says that they're going to activate fast wireless charging in an upcoming update, and they've yet to do that update. So this fast wireless charger is going to be capable of that down the road, and it at least includes a charger brick, unlike this guy here, which I also recommend because it's very, very affordable. It does not charge fast, but it does charge wirelessly, and it's on Amazon for like $12. It's very, very affordable. But again, when the fast charging is enabled, then the RAV Power will have the advantage. Right now, it doesn't really. This charger and the RAV Power charges at the same speed. But it's very well built. It's a very premium charger. It's made of actual metal instead of plastic. But for the most part, wireless chargers just kind of sit there. So I talk a lot about the RAV Power charger in tomorrow's video. Tomorrow's video is going to be like my favorite wireless chargers for my iPhone. But it applies to Galaxy phones as well. One more Patreon for 100. Oh, are there 99 Patreons? That's kind of cool. How expensive do you think phones can get before it gets too ridiculous? It's not really. I honestly don't think it's that ridiculous. I think that part of it is inflation, first of all. And keep in mind that back in the 80s, cell phones costed like $3 to $4 grand. So it has actually gone down a little bit. But we use our phones so much, and they have such a crucial part of our life. And keep in mind that it's not necessarily phones getting more expensive. They're just widening the diversity of the lineup. You know, we now have some of the cheapest iPhones Apple's ever sold in terms of new ones. You know, they're still making. Now we have the iPhone SE starting at $350, and then of course that ranges all the way up to $1,200 or whatever with the iPhone 10. It's not just phones getting expensive; it's them diversifying the lineup. They're getting more expensive, but they're also getting cheaper, especially with companies like OnePlus that specify specifically in making phones that are affordable. Will there not be an unlocked iPhone 10? Asks Bounty Hunter. So a lot of people are confused right this. I have to explain it again and again and again, but I understand not everyone's watching every single live stream. So when you can't pre-order a product yet, the option for it to be SIM-free is not showing up. Okay, before the iPhone 8 pre-orders went live, there wasn't a SIM-free version available. They didn't have an option for that. When the iPhone 10 pre-orders do go live, there will be a SIM-free version. But since the pre-orders are not live right now, that's why you're not seeing it. Okay, so it'll be there. Drew, have you seen the Oppo R11? It ripped off the iPhone 7 Plus. Yeah, they're not the first ones. A ton of people have duplicated the iPhone 7 Plus, and every iPhone every year gets duplicated. It's not a big deal. I think you might see a surprising number of cameras be vertical on next year's smartphones now. Just because. No reason. They just do. Google lowered the price of the USB-C dongle from $20 to $9. I saw that. They got tired of complaints. I wonder if they saw my video. Probably not. But I mean, some bot thought it wasn't worthy of monetization. So something, not maybe someone, but something saw my video. But I just thought that was funny. It was like, okay, that was nice of you, Google, to lower the price to $9. But the better question is, why was it $20 in the first place? If you're okay with selling it at $9, why did you price it at $20? Like, what's next? Can we get them to lower the price of the actual Pixel? Drew, I remember seeing your feet next to Nick a few weeks ago on Talos of Gaming. It was hilarious. Yes, I'm on Talos of Gaming. I still am. If Apple made a new casing for an Apple Watch, what would you want it to be? A new casing? Do you mean like material-wise or just like the actual look? I think if anything, I would be very flattered if Apple actually took a different design element for the Apple Watch, since we've had the same one for the past 3 to 4 years now. It's kind of, it's cool and it's improving and they're perfecting its design, but if they could make it slightly thinner, or if they could expand the display on it a little bit so the bezels aren't as big, if they could do something with it. Yeah, a lot of people said, okay, material-wise, a lot of people said titanium, but I don't think that would look very much different. So it would be functional, which is nice because titanium is strong and light, but I wouldn't be too impressed with it because it doesn't look very different. But like I've said many times, I would like it if the sapphire glass just was the entire thing. The whole thing was made of glass. I think that would be cool. Why Apple and not Android? Well, because Android is an OS for a phone and Apple is a ecosystem. You're comparing a phone to like 6, 7 different standalone devices. I'm glad you like Krispy Kreme. They're my favorite donut place. I do like Krispy Kreme. I enjoy them. What's your favorite video that you've made, Drew? Sadly, it's probably not a tech video. Someone just revved it. Some of my favorite work is mostly on the main channel, Tailosive, because that's where I put the most effort into, and it's the closest my scripted content came out the way I envisioned it on that channel. But in terms of tech videos, I really like the iPhone edition release video. I kind of put some extra spins on that, and I really like the way it came out, and a lot of people commented that they really enjoyed that video. And I got a private message from Venya Geskin after I released that video and said, you completely summed up my thoughts and I really thought you did a great job with it. And then he shared it. So that was very flattering because Venya Geskin's kind of the big old iPhone leak guy, which probably won't be that popular. No, he'll be popular. He'll be leaking other things. But I guess there's not that much to leak for the next 6 months or so. There's some leaks here and there, but it won't be as major as the iPhone X leaks have been. Why don't you put some money into the original Tailosive channel? Because we don't get much money out of the original Tailosive channel, and it takes the most work. It takes the most people. You know, the tech channel is basically me and my editor, and sometimes if he's busy, I'll edit them myself, which is fine. That's how I started the channel. But I can run this channel basically single-handedly if I need to, whereas the main channel, you can't do it with one person. You need help. You need other people to be in your movies, and you need other people to film your stuff. And editing it takes a lot longer, so that's why we're not putting more money into it, is because we don't get much out of it. I'd like to. I love that channel, and I have big plans for that channel. But right now, we'd rather get the tech channel situated and large to a point where it'll be very, very easy to focus on other channels while tech just does its thing. Do you think Apple should have handoff with Apple Music so you could move from phone to TV, Mac fairly seamlessly? That's a good idea, Daniel. I haven't thought of that. You know, they could add continuity to kind of the music you're playing. I know there's a better way they could be handling the music app on the Apple Watch. It's very nice what they've done now that you can pair AirPods directly with your watch. I really, really love that. Though, to get it to a place where it's like I want the watch to play music that's on my phone, and sometimes I want the watch to play music from the watch. It's kind of messy right now because a lot of people were used to the music app on the watch just being echoed from what's on your phone, and now it's not that, so people are confused by it. What would you do if you can't get the iPhone X on November 3rd? I would get it as soon as possible, and I would keep making videos about it. It would obviously suck, but like I said, I'm going to try my best to. And I think I have pretty good chances. I think the people who are refreshing the Apple Store page at 12:01 in the morning are probably going to have a pretty good chance of getting it. But like I said, don't wait long. I think literally the people who are pre-ordering at 12:06 are going to have to wait a month longer than the people pre-ordering at 12:01. So just those few seconds will make a difference, but I think I'm like 80% I'm 80% sure I'll be able to get it on November 3rd. I'm fairly confident it'll be okay. Ian Taylor's asking what Taylosive means. Go to the Taylosive Talks channel and watch Hello World episode 7. It's a long story, and a lot of people have heard it already, so check it out on that channel. Will Apple make a small Bluetooth speaker? Probably not anytime soon, but maybe they will. I haven't heard any leaks for one. And they probably wouldn't look at the Google Home Mini or the Amazon Echo Dot as really competition. They're not really concerned about that. Do you think Face ID will be useful on a Mac? I think it could be useful on anything. The watch, why not? If they could stuff it on there someday. But yeah, it could be useful on the Mac. It's kind of like, you know, they did Windows Hello on the Microsoft devices. Which is not the same thing as Face ID, but it's kind of the same concept. Face ID is kind of a more elaborate, more secure version of Windows Hello. But yeah, I'm sure they're going to start bringing it to everything else. What if Face ID was on Mac? Again, I would like it. Please do a Taylosive food eating competition between the crew and you, and please do everything wrong with the new Apple products. So you're saying I should eat a bunch of food with my friends and then talk about why the company I like is wrong. Yeah, that sounds like fun. It looks worse to drop the 2016 MacBook Pro. It looks worse. Just don't drop your MacBook Pro. That'd be better. Will Apple Music play through the speaker on the Apple Watch Series 3 LTE? No, it doesn't, and that's a good thing. They should not allow you to play music out of the speaker. It sounds horrible. Speaker is meant for really quick little bits of information like a phone call or Siri. Those are supposed to be heard in small doses. You're not supposed to have too long interaction with the speaker on the Apple Watch. If you played music out of it, it would sound awful. I don't even know why they put a speaker in the 5th generation iPod Nano. It sounded horrible. They will do a Plus version of the iPhone 10 eventually. Yeah, I mean next year. That's the rumors, that there will be 2 sizes of what the 10 looks like right now. He can't see this. That's funny. I read that one. Can you move something in your background and say Louis King, please? Louis King, please. Sorry, I screwed that one up. I don't want to take bizarre requests. What is your biggest gripes, top 3 about Apple? Let's see. My biggest complaints about Apple would be the naming, the lack of conformity. So the iPhone removes the headphone jack, but the MacBook doesn't, the iPad doesn't. In the lack of coordination, I could say, and I guess that could go along with my second gripe. But it's like they release Space Gray on all their products, and then they release the iPhone 7, and it doesn't have a Space Gray version. It's like, coordinate a little bit better on this. If you're going to add wireless charging to the iPhone 8, have it ready on the iPad. You know, just move everything on a bit smoother. What is a feature you hate on iPhone 10? There's not much. I'm a little bit concerned about getting used to the home bar instead of the home button. I think that might take a while to get used to. But I'm sure I'll get used to it. Something I don't like could be, obviously, the notch. I mean, no one likes the notch. Yeah, that's not true. I've heard a couple people say they like it. But obviously, I don't think anyone would be upset if they removed the notch and it was just a clean, actual edge-to-edge display. That'll happen eventually. It's just not today. But yeah, I guess the notch is going to probably be a little bit annoying, but I'll probably get used to it. The stainless steel edges, I'm not as big a fan of. I know most people like that they're mirror finish and stuff, but I prefer just the regular, matte black kind of finish of the iPhone 8. That looks good to me, but stainless steel is stronger, I guess. So I like the notch. It makes the phone stand out. Well, the Apple logo should do that, and iOS should do that. You shouldn't have to have a big cutout on the screen to stand out, but yeah, I think that there could eventually be a product red iPhone 10. That'd be neat. I think you're gonna get a couple more. You're gonna get a couple more colors on the iPhone 10 throughout the year as they figure out all the manufacturing problems and fix things out. I'm again 90% sure that more colors for the iPhone 10 are coming. There's already a leak that the blush gold color on the iPhone 8 is also coming to the 10 later in the year. The majority of people who will be buying the iPhone 10 will be well, obviously the majority, but like 95% of the people who will be using the iPhone 10 will be getting it in 2018. Just because most of the people pre-ordering it are going to have to wait months and months and months. They could have placed the fingerprint sensor on the Apple logo in the back. I agree with Apple that, first of all, could they do it seamlessly through glass? They would have to make the Apple logo be a bit more of a ring. Yeah, Charles, knock it off. I don't prefer having Touch ID on the back. I know that's a compromise that other companies make, but I still think Apple took the smarter route and the more original route to just say, no, we're going to perfect security on the front. And I agree with Apple that the back of a device is not a good place for interaction with a UI. You don't need Touch ID on the back. You don't need home button or volume on the back like LG used to. I like that that's clean on the back. I don't want to reach into my pocket and have to start reaching around for the Touch ID sensor. And if they did do it, it would, because this is a glass back, they would have to put some kind of ring around the Apple logo, which would kind of ruin the seamlessness of it. Thank you for your donation, Apple fan. Thank you. What? No, okay, I'm just going to put the watch on. Do not disturb. There we go. Great. Zach Tech Reviews donated, says, serious question for you and everyone watching. Going to the cupboard now. Strawberry or chocolate Pop-Tart for a snack? Go. Wait. Strawberry chocolate Pop-Tart. I'm a chocolate Pop-Tart guy. Go with chocolate. Please go with chocolate. What do you think about using an iPhone SE in 2017? It's fine. If iPhone SE isn't that old, people. It came out in 2016. It's 2017 now. We're coming up on 2 years. That's still a good time. Like, what else is 2 years old? I mean, oh, I saw a comment I want to get back to from Scott. iPhone 6S is over 2 years old now, right? And that's still a great phone. A lot of people were like, how do you feel about someone using a 6S? I was like, the 6S is still a perfectly fine phone, and it's now really affordable. There's better options out there, clearly, and I'd recommend getting a newer one because it's going to last you longer. But the 6S, that doesn't devalue the 6S at all. It's the most capable iPhone with a headphone jack. There you go. So Scott mentioned Face ID on the back. It's something I think they could add in a software update. I'm not saying remove Face ID from the front. I'm saying that could they have not designed Face ID sensors and the dual camera on the back? There's two cameras there. I feel like they're pretty capable. Is there a way that when you put your phone down like this, it could register that the user's face is right here using the dual camera? I mean, they are more detailed, right? Maybe they don't need a dot projector. They just need that 4K sensor. And then they're able to check that. And then it could unlock already by the time you pick it up. It's already been unlocked because the rear-facing camera side. That'd be cool. No, that won't happen. That was just an idea. Alex Matthew says, do you think my twin can face unlock my iPhone 10? They really didn't directly address that, but I'm really excited to see the Face ID compared to twins and stuff. I think it's possible, but Face ID also is 1 in a million, so there is a chance that maybe it does know the difference, because I know that even identical twins do have minor differences. I mean, identical twins, while they may be raised very similarly, one can have different activities than the other. One can eat differently than the other, and that would probably affect the facial structure. Just the way they grew up, they might have slight and minute differences in the face. It'd be interesting. Of course, it wouldn't surprise me either if it turned out that Face ID can't detect the difference between twins, but I guess it just means stay away from your twin. It's not a big enough problem for me to say, okay, iPhone 10's not worth it. Why did you remove Not So Bot? I didn't. I'm not in control of the Discord, so Xander did or someone else did. Unless it's an evil twin, who cares? Well, your evil twin can probably figure out your passcode just by being around you all the time anyway, so just stay away from them. Power button on embedded fingerprint. Guys, I'm telling you to abandon your hopes of Touch ID. All the rumors coming out today are saying that Apple is going to be switching to Face ID on every device they can from here on out, and there's no plans on implementing Touch ID back in anything. They're betting big on Face ID, and that's something Apple would do. First of all, embedding a fingerprint reader onto the power button is a very, very small space to put Touch ID, which means it's getting very, very little detail out of your fingerprint. Forgive me if I have no loyalty towards... did I turn this off? Yeah, I did. There it goes. Forgive me if I have no loyalty towards Touch ID. It's because of my psoriasis, my skin disease, all this flakiness on my hands. Touch ID has never worked for me. I've never used it. It's never worked efficiently for me. So that's why I don't have much loyalty to Touch ID. And I'm very excited for Face ID because while psoriasis screws up your skin, I don't think it really screws up your face. So I'm hoping that I can finally have a easy and secure way of logging into my phone that's not my passcode. Demi Quinn, thank you for your donation. Appreciate it. Did he ask a question? There's no comment, but thank you. Open a Talos of Draws, please. I'm not good at drawing, but if you want to submit something you've drawn, of course, best way to do that is Twitter. What's the power bank you're using? We're talking all about this incredible power bank in tomorrow's video. It's very slick, it's very affordable, and it's full of surprises. When will Apple make another iPhone with the old iPhone 6 design? I don't think they will. That's kind of why it's an old design. Make Taylosive branded Apple Watch straps. Okay, let me know how to do it, and I will. Which iPhone from the past you miss the most? I don't. This is my favorite iPhone. There's nothing I miss about the older iPhones, to be honest. Every year I just think the design gets better. You mean today's video? Oh yeah, it's now 12:01 in California. So yeah, today's video, which will be coming out in probably 9 hours or so. What is your Twitter? Take a wild guess. Just take a wild guess. What do you think of dark mode? It's funny, I realized that the Apple TV has dark mode. So it's like, okay, Apple, why did you put dark mode on the Apple TV? And they'd say something like, well, you know, people turn it on and it's bright and it's dark, so it's harder to look at a TV when it's all bright. All the menus are bright. It's like, okay, so you agree the TV needs that. Why can't you agree the iPhone needs that? Especially with the OLED display. Maybe with the OLED display, they can focus more on dark mode in iOS 12. Maybe. We don't know. You should get a D-brand skin for your MacBook. I'm not a big fan of D-brand. I thought I got a sponsorship from them, but it turned out to be a scam. And the D-brand hasn't held up well on my old iPhone 6 Plus. It doesn't look very good. They're kind of complicated to install, and I like the clean look of aluminum. I don't want stickers and heating up things and trying to seal them on it. I'm not a D-brand fan. Something you won't hear from most tech YouTubers, because I'm one of them that's not getting paid by them. Do you think they will put OLED displays in Macs and MacBooks? Technically, there is an OLED display in the MacBook Pro. It's just not this one. It's on the keyboard. But, yeah, eventually they'll switch. But as we're finding out, like as more technology develops, there are other technologies other than OLED that are actually better. Like it's rumored that the Apple Watch might be switching to micro LED, which apparently is better than OLED. So maybe they'll make the jump to that or whatever. But yeah, it's a better technology. They might eventually bring it over. Do you go to Florida often? I would love to meet you. I sadly do not. No. I visited Florida because my girlfriend was living there in February, but now she is back home. She's not living there, so I don't have much of a need to go to Florida. I'm going to stop commenting and just going to watch because he don't notice me. Forgive me, when there's 130 people watching and there's a comment every second, it's hard to address everyone. I apologize. King Tony says, will the iPhone 9 have bezels or no bezels? Well, if you're talking about the iPhone next year, yeah, it'll have bezels. We're not even close to removing bezels. They have an edge-to-edge display, but bezels are still there. Same with the Galaxy Infinity displays. They're getting smaller, but they're still going to be there. Yes, it will have bezels. Taylosive World Tour. Well, we have Taylosive Food, so that's kind of like eating. Oh, you probably just meant like tour of the world, like travel all the time. Sadly, I don't have the money to travel all the time, but I would like to. Drew, is there any way to install apps from App Store with iPhone 3G? I don't think so. I think it's been discontinued in that regard. I don't think you can go on the App Store anymore and just download. What is the best way to make money for a 14-year-old? I want to get iPhone 10. Wow. So young and you want so much. What I did when I was 14 and younger, actually I started doing this when I was around 11. I was about 11 years old, and I started mowing lawns around town for people. This wasn't a worker's permit. I wasn't hired by some contractor or some boss or something. I just literally went out and asked people, can I mow your lawn? Can I mow your lawn? I'll do it once a week, and I'll stop by. And my dad, because he believed in me and thought it was a good cause, he drove me around. Obviously, I couldn't drive around when I was 11. But I got to know a lot of people, and I mowed a lot of lawns, and that's how I made money to afford my Apple products when I was 11 years old. But I definitely didn't buy anything that was $1,000 like the iPhone X. So I don't know how you're going to do that, but good luck. What do you think about this killing bezels trend? Thank you for your donation, Apple. It's proof that they're running out of ideas on smartphones. That's what killing bezels means. Because I can't say that's a complaint I have with my iPhones. I don't look up my iPhones and think, geez, the bezels are too big. It's nice when bezels are smaller. It looks pretty, but it functionally adds nothing. It changes the experience in no way whatsoever. Like, you'll get the iPhone X. Does it help you text better? Does it scroll through Twitter better? Does it take pictures better to not have bezels? No. If anything, it makes it harder because now there's nowhere for you to hold the phone when you're taking pictures and stuff. But it looks cool. So that's why it's going to sell better. The fact that they're resorting to killing bezels is proof that they're running out of ideas and features that are functional, that are logical for people to actually upgrade. Now, from mostly here on out, it's going to be a beauty contest. All the different smartphone companies, all the different brands are going to try to make the best looking phone because feature-wise, they're all going to start hitting every feature, and there's not going to be many exclusives that are worth it. That's why Apple, I think, has made it bank and is going to be just fine for the next few decades, is because they have iOS, which is exclusive to them. Whereas Android companies, I think the smaller Android developers particularly are going to have a real hard time competing with the competition, as Android is not exclusive. Like, you can get the Pixel 2 launcher on any Android phone. I read an article about that today. So it's like, okay, if you like stock Android, get a Galaxy Note 8 and put the Pixel 2 launcher on it. There you go. Stock Android. I don't think the next trend will be foldable, flexible smartphones. I think there's a couple prototypes going around right now, and companies are messing around with it, but they're ultimately going to find out that it's not what people want and it's not going to be practical. No, I'm not going to buy Apple Care with my iPhone X because, first of all, I'm just very, very careful with my iPhones. I've never dropped an iPhone. I've never cracked a screen on an iPhone. And Apple Care on the iPhone X is like $200. It's $200 I probably wouldn't use. There's a rumor about the 2019 iPhone that uses Apple Pencil. What do you think? There was a rumor that the iPhone 7 would use Apple Pencil support, and that's over a year ago. So there's been rumors and patents and stuff that have passed like that many, many times. Yeah, I've dropped, okay, yes, there have been instances where an iPhone has fallen out of my hands, but I've never cracked the glass on it. I didn't need to send it. I didn't need Apple Care after I dropped my iPhone. It was fine. It got a minor scuff on the bumper, but other than that, it was totally fine. But yeah, there's been many, many patents passed of Apple Pencil support on iPhone. And again, I go with my point that it's pointless. Get it, pencil? It's not necessary. Having an Apple Pencil on an iPhone would not be useful. Even if the iPhone X did support the Apple Pencil, I wouldn't buy it and I wouldn't use it for that. I'm saying I wouldn't buy like a special Apple Pencil for my iPhone. I would keep using my Apple Pencil on my iPad. I wouldn't use it on the phone. I wish I could send you a super chat to show you my support, but my country does not have this feature. It's okay. Just by watching this live stream, you are making my job, this channel, possible. So thank you just for watching. I want pencil support on more iPads. Well, it's a certain kind of layering and design process they have to do to make it eligible, and it does cost more money to make the display able to register Apple Pencil inputs. But everything gets cheaper over time. So yeah, it'll get cheaper. Perhaps in a couple of years, there will be iPads that are brand new and they're $300 and they support the Apple Pencil. I'm sure it'll happen. Right now, it's kind of awkward because you've got iPad Pros that support the Apple Pencil, and then you've got the 2017 iPad, which does not support the Apple Pencil, but it's $300. That's its main point. Imagine a 12.9-inch iPad Pro with no bezels. Goodness. It would be kind of hard to hold because there's nowhere to put your fingers while you're holding it. But yeah, it would sure look cool. Again, functionally doesn't add much, but... do you think Apple could ditch the iPads if they made foldable touchscreen MacBooks? I don't, and I think the Microsoft community has proven this. If there is a way to efficiently combine iOS and macOS, I think Apple would have done it by now, because by no means is Apple against touchscreens. They kind of revolutionized multi-touch on the original iPhone. Then they're the sole leader of the tablet market with the iPad. So Apple's not against tablets and palm rejection and all that. And I think that the decision to not have touchscreens on the MacBook was very much thought out. Steve Jobs even brought it up directly in keynotes and said, we've tried this. It didn't work. We find out that users love it for demo. Like, the first time they try it, it works great, but then they never use it again. And I think the Surface Pros and the Surface Laptop and the Surface Books are proof of that. Everyone I know who has a Surface Pro uses the touchscreen occasionally, but that's about it. They don't use it exclusively. And if you plan on buying a Surface Pro but not buying a keyboard or trackpad to use with it, there's not really a point in using it. So I don't think Apple would consciously do that. And it'd also be it would be worse financially for them, because it makes more sense for Apple to sell iPads and MacBooks rather than sell just one of those products. They make more money that way. Which, Apple is a business, right? So that's their goal. Hey, Trevor says, could Apple Watches ever advance to not require an iPhone? Also, could it be the iPhone replacement for many who call, text, perform basic functions? Yeah, we've had this conversation for a long time. Technically, the hardware is there for it to not, well, kind of. Not necessarily. I think the biggest problem... Okay, so with the cellular Apple Watch I have now, it is possible to use it without the iPhone, which is nice. The one issue with trying to make the Apple Watch independent from the iPhone is the setup. The setup process requires you to enter a lot of information. So the idea that you could just buy an Apple Watch and just enter all of your personal information in Scribble, I think would be a bad first impression for most people buying it. And to sign into your Verizon account with Scribble and just be like writing things in and doing things that way. Definitely not thought through experience, and I don't think smartwatches were ever meant to replace your iPhone. That's why Apple wouldn't enable that feature. Once you get it going, though, I mean, with cellular and its own charge battery, it can stream music on its own, it can play music on its own, and get texts and calls. I guess you could activate it and then just like leave your iPhone locked in a desk and never use it. But again, there's a couple things your watch can't do. It can't have a keyboard, which I think is very, very important. If you're browsing things online, if you're texting people, you don't want to use Scribble constantly. You don't want to use dictation constantly. They're nice for quick little text, but not prolonged conversation. No web browsing on your watch, no watching YouTube on your watch, and no camera on your watch. And I think those are pretty important things, and that's why it can't really replace your phone unless you're someone who doesn't use their camera and doesn't use a browser and doesn't watch video. So it's a very thin demographic that would actually need or appreciate that. But yeah, technically it doesn't really require an iPhone now, but it's that setup process that it really needs to be connected to something else to get it going, to connect it to Verizon and to get the password and Apple Pay and stuff all there. I think the screen space of an Apple Watch is just too dang small for it to be an independent product. It really does need the help of something bigger that you can customize more options on and tinker with. So, sorry, I love that. Why people still buy Chromebook? I don't know. I feel like we've kind of really tried with the Chromebook, but most people who have ever bought one, who have ever used one, have kind of admitted, no, they're trash. They're like a Happy Meal laptop. That's the way because I've used one too. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I've never tried to use a Chromebook. Before I bought my MacBook, like years before, I think even before the Tech Channel was a thing, I had a Chromebook myself because I was like, it's $200. That's fine. I mean, if it breaks, it breaks, and I didn't lose much on it. So I've used a Chromebook before. Not a very quality product, definitely doesn't feel very good, but does it work? I mean, After about a year, the battery fried, and it wouldn't hold a charge, and then it wouldn't turn on. So that's why you don't see me with the Chromebook today. So yeah, that kind of makes it difficult after that experience. But I've mentioned this many times, but my parents run a charter school they started themselves. And they wanted to have like classroom sets of computers of some sort for the students to use. And the first year they had iPads, and then halfway through that year they made the switch to Chromebooks. The Chromebooks were crap. They failed a lot more often. Like the rate of failure with the Chromebooks was very, very high compared to iPads. And because they're working K through 8, these are not the brightest kids in the world when you're working with kindergarten, first grade, and they have iPads, which they're good at using, but they're just, kids aren't responsible at a young age. That's just fact. An iPad could take a fall. They could drop an iPad, and they had cameras on them, and they can do videos and stuff with them, and they can drop them occasionally and still pick them up, and they work fine. They last a lot longer. The occasion of an iPad being broken or the battery frying or the software making it unusable, far, 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 far less common. So I'm talking about a school district that buys like 250 sets of iPads or 250 Chromebooks. So they've kind of experienced both and said that they're never going to buy another fleet of Chromebooks again because they've lost like a quarter of them. They die, or like if a student drops a Chromebook, it's dead. It will just not turn on again. They're very, very fragile products, very, very cheaply made, which is kind of the point with them. So the idea of making an expensive one, again, you run into the problem of the software on it doesn't really justify spending so much money on it because it's a Google Office suite. Every product you buy these days has an Office suite on them, so I don't know why that's their flagship feature for the Pixelbook. Oh, someone's asked if I was spoiled as a kid. I personally don't think so because, first of all, I did all my chores and I was not paid an allowance. I was told that you live here, you need to support yourself. So you're not going to get paid money for this. My parents didn't hand me money all the time. There was never an instance where I said, Mom, Dad, I need money. I want to buy something. That was never the instance. I wanted to buy tech all the time when I was younger. I wanted to buy an iPhone 4 and an iPhone 5. I wanted to buy an iPad. And I had the money for it from mowing lawns and doing, not doing chores because I don't get an allowance, but helping people out around town, not just with lawns, but with other things as well. I found my source of revenue. And I would have the money to afford a product, and my parents would still not let me buy it. It's like, okay, I can afford the iPhone 5. Can I buy it? And they said, nope, you don't need one. So I'd had to convince them as to why I wanted to buy an iPhone 5 and why it would be justifiable. And they still said no. And later on, I convinced them enough. I said why it's important for me to have a phone. My freshman year of high school, I finally convinced them that I should be able to allowed to buy my own iPhone. So I had to convince them that I can spend my own money. And then after that, I wanted to buy an iPad, and they said, no, you do not need an iPad. And eventually I convinced them. Now they all have iPhones and iPads. And then when the Apple Watch came out, we were so much older. I was like, look, I've been right so far with the iPhone and the iPad. Just believe me that when I buy the Apple Watch, I can tell you that I'll use it. And they were like, well, there's no point with arguing with them now. But yeah, I don't think I was spoiled because they didn't just hand me money. I had to work for it, and then I had to work to spend it myself. So I wouldn't consider myself spoiled. Say my name. There, I said my name. I said it. Did you get birthday money or Xmas money? Yeah, I got birthday money and Xmas money, but not from my parents, just from family members. It is very, very generous family, but it's not how I afforded everything. I didn't buy all my tech because everyone gave me a ton of money. I made most of the money I spent. What's your opinion on the declining sales of PC and Mac? Do you think Apple will eventually drop the Mac and make developers to move their apps to iPad? Ooh. Probably not drop it entirely, but definitely I can see it shrinking, and it makes sense because there's less and less of a need to have such powerful computers that are stationary, as now we can do so much of our lives on iPads and MacBooks that the idea of stationary desktops and PCs, they're running out of purposes. So there's less and less reason to buy one. I don't think I could ever see desktops completely going away. They're definitely going to get less popular. But the advantage a desktop will have, it will always be better specs for the buck compared to a laptop and an iPad. You're going to get a lot of processing power for a good deal when you're buying a desktop. But again, it's not mobile, so popularity for it and demand for it's definitely going down. But no, I wouldn't say that it's ever going to completely go away. Like, probably the strongest case for keeping desktops around is PC gaming. Like, that's not going anywhere anytime soon, and it's very, very possible. Very, very popular. Sorry, I forgot to mention, Rather Dashing donated $2 Canadian. Thank you very much. He didn't write a comment, but thank you for the donation. Would you rather have front-facing speakers than Face ID? Love your interactiveness with us fans. Please keep up the live streams going forward. Front-facing speakers, no. I love having stereo speakers, but the direction they're facing doesn't make a huge difference to me. It's a little convenient to have both stereo speakers going forward, but for the most part, I can hear it just fine. And my iPhone speakers are very, very loud. It's very noticeably louder on the iPhone 8, which is fine. It's so loud that I don't really care that it's not facing me. At least the big one is not facing me. The top piece is. What's your favorite video game? Depends on my mood, but if I had to say like a game I really got excited about, and I even wrote fan story. What do you call it? What's that thing? What's that thing you call when you know a lot of lore about a story and you expand on it? Your fan made. You got fanfic. Yeah, fan fiction. I made a lot of fan fiction for Portal 2. I was really into Portal 2 when it came out. Sorry, that was right on the edge of my tongue. I wrote a bunch of Portal 2 fan fiction just because I was sick that I didn't know a lot of the backstory for the Aperture Labs and stuff. So I was like, I need to fill in the blanks with my own ideas. So I wrote Portal 3 and I wrote an Aperture Laboratories script, and I just answered all my questions. And I said, great, okay, now I know what happened, and I closed the binder, and I've never looked at it. Will you ever use Wirecast? Oh, shoot, yeah, I really need to get into that. I'm sorry. You sent that to me, and I appreciate that. But yes. I do plan on using it. I just need a good amount of free time where I can experiment with a program. I haven't had a lot of free time to just kind of experiment with programs for a while. But yes, I still have it on my computer. It's installed on here. Do you consider the telephoto camera to be revolutionary? No, I think the problem with people calling things revolutionary is they expect them all the time. Revolutionary is rare because you can't revolutionize something very, very often. The telephoto camera, I think, is really, really helpful. It's very, very convenient. And I'm upset that Google doesn't think they need one. But no, I wouldn't call it revolutionary. It lets you zoom in a little better. It's not a revolutionary thing. Not the creepy kind of fan fiction, just like the backstories that people make up for stuff. And I was frustrated that there was no backstory to the origins of GLaDOS and the whole Portal universe, so I just wrote one myself and said, great, I love it. And then I closed it and said, that's that. You're in a better mood today. Thank you, Hungry Henry. I am in a better mood. For those of you wondering, I have writing on my hand here. This is because I went roller skating this evening with my girlfriend. That was a lot of fun. I hadn't gone roller skating in like 8 years. And I also vlogged that experience, which will be up on Taylors of Talks later in the week. What do you think about if other companies call it portrait mode? Well, at first I was upset because I was like, wow, you're directly ripping the iPhone. But then people brought up that they called it portrait mode on phones previously. So I was like, okay, then it is a standard. I apologize. Thoughts on Nintendo? I'm not a Nintendo fan. I've noticed the fanboys for Nintendo are really big, but I didn't have a big gaming childhood, and it feels like the only people who like Nintendo products are because they really love Mario, and they really love Zelda, and they really love things made by Nintendo. And if you're not a fan of Mario or Zelda, there's no reason to buy the Switch. There's nothing else it offers. It's just those games. It's just those Nintendo games, and if you're not interested in those games, the console is useless. Itrabor says, thoughts on why iMacs don't have water cooling yet? It's a tad more impractical, and it's harder to store into a lighter design. And they'd rather design computers smarter so that they don't need water cooling. They rather design processor chips that don't get very hot than let them get really, really hot and find out more creative ways of cooling them. I think Apple experiments with everything. They probably know more about this than you or me. What's your old job? I used to work at a mandarin ranch. Not anymore, no. Now YouTube is full-time. Is that a wireless charging brick? This is a wireless charger mobile battery pack. That is... Oh, can I show it? I forgot to plug in this one. Hold on. Let me plug this in real quick. See, you've seen this Qi wireless charger before. I've used it in several videos. Very affordable. It was only $12 on Amazon. The cool thing about this charger pad is, first of all, you can take it with you. It's just a mobile battery pack, 8,000 milliamps. I can drop my phone on it, charges, and if I have a regular Qi-enabled wireless charger... Sorry, that was probably really loud. Sorry, 1 second. I unplugged the dongle on accident. Ah! Sorry about that. Okay. Should be back. Should be back. Refresh. We're back and we're really loud. Sorry. Sorry about that. I unplugged the dongle on accident. You good? Yes. Okay, we're back. Anyway. It's super loud. Okay, that's it. But the audio's bad. Shouldn't be. Hello, test, test, test. I'm gonna lower it. There. Should it be quieter? Too loud. Sorry. Still loud. Freaking dongles. Yes, it's annoying. I know. Audio's messed up. It's using your default mic. It shouldn't be. It says it's using the H6. I apologize. Let me refresh real quick. Real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, should be back. 1 sec. Keep quiet. Keep quiet. T. Irrelevant. Ah! How's the portless challenge going? Are you planning on doing the same thing with your AirPods too and possibly iPads in the future? Yeah. I mean, technically I have a charge stand for my AirPods that they just plug into. So it's not portless. But yeah, when I get the wireless charging AirPods, I'll just use wireless charging. It's good. Sorry about that. Anyway, what I wanted to show you is that this mobile battery pack, which of course is 8,000 milliamps, I can take it wherever, charges the iPhone 8, but also the charger pack itself charges on Qi-enabled chargers. I realized because it's offline. My charge is messing the thing up. I apologize. Never mind. Quack Quack isn't that great. You can't plug 3 things into it. Sorry. Sorry. Forgive me. Should be working now. Anyway. No more live demonstrations. That's enough of that. Anyway, we're coming up on the end of the stream. Audio is better. Good. Great. Stop going offline. I didn't want to. But it did because the Quack Quack adapter. Jeez. It's fine. It's fine now. Can you do a house tour of Telos headquarters? I have on the Talks channel many, many times. I just did one last night. Cool. What do you think Apple will add to the watch in the future? I'd be still excited for glucose monitoring and smart bands, which we didn't get. But I mentioned that last year, so it'd be just kind of redundant to do another video on it. When week lasted battery? When we switch to something that's not lithium. If we switch to a form of battery, we all have a week last dependent on lithium, because pretty much the physics of battery charging with lithium have not changed very much over the past 10 years. We've made a lot of other parts of our computers shrink down, but lithium batteries haven't changed very much. If we started using something else, a different based material for batteries, maybe we could expand the battery life. But currently, lithium's the best for what we need. Currently. I recently switched from desktop to laptop and I'm never coming back. I hear you. I was on desktop for a long time, and then when I switched to the MacBook Pro, it was very convenient to be able to take it everywhere. Do you think Apple will add wireless charging to things such as iPads? I really want to, but I know there's big challenges with that. Like even Samsung put a glass back on the Galaxy Tab, but it didn't have wireless charging. It's the charger pad required to charge an iPad would have to be fairly large. And that's a lot of power, and that's a lot of money, and to ask for everyone to spend that much on wireless chargers for the iPad would be fairly demanding. I have a quick question. Okay, proceeds with paragraph. Non-related. Whenever you leave your iPhone behind, does it take a while for the Apple Watch Series 3 to enable cellular? In mine, it experiences stays disconnected for like a minute. Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's natural because they don't want to instantly turn on cellular if they don't have to. They're taking into consideration that maybe you just stepped out of range of your iPhone briefly, and then you may be going back into it. They don't need to activate cellular if they don't have to. Obviously, they don't want cellular to activate at any given moment because that could affect your battery life, given cellular takes up more battery. There's nothing but... Guys, do you think I can't see what's behind me? I have the screen of me that I can see. Every time I look at the camera, I'm just it's like looking in a mirror. I can see myself on there, so there's really no point in looking behind me. Do you think MacBook Pros will have wireless charging? I would like them to, but it's going to be a while before they're able to put any type of wireless charging port that's capable of sending that much power in this large of a device. MacBooks use a ton of power. So being able to send all that wirelessly, I think it will happen someday, but probably not soon. Kind of confused on if Apple is releasing new AirPods or is it just a new wireless charging case? Would you recommend waiting for the new ones or just get the old ones? It sucks that you have to call them the old ones, but technically they are just AirPods, the ones that are out now, because the new ones are not out. And no, Apple didn't say that there was any processor enhancements with the wireless charging version or if it's just a case. The AirPods themselves are the same. I don't know. Either way, I'll be buying a pair. But yeah, it's not very clear, but they said they're not coming till next year, so I think you're good. They're down to 1 to 3 days shipping now, which is incredible. That seemed to be impossible 6 months ago. But yeah, I'd say just buy AirPods now. It's fine. Only if you plan on buying an Apple Watch Series 3 and a wireless charging enabled iPhone should you wait for the wireless charging AirPods. And, you know, like, while you're waiting, you have another 5 months until the wireless charging AirPods are out. So just use AirPods in the meantime. It's $160. It's not that big of an investment. When do you think the MacBook Air is going to be completely dropped by Apple? Any day now. I'm just waiting for the big article headline to drop. I don't know why it's still around. Do you think in like 5 years you can walk around in a room in your phone when it charges? Not 5 years. I think we're going to get better at truly wireless charging in about 5 years, but I'd probably not into the room yet. It might be a while before that happens. Oh, see, look, I can put this on here and then I just... Oh, so nice. So nice. Do you think Elon Musk will be the next Steve Jobs? They're revolutionizing very, very different fields. So I wouldn't compare the two. Steve Jobs focused on personal computing. Elon Musk is into electric cars and space travel. Steve Jobs is into the experience of software and hardware. Elon Musk is into going to other planets and renewable energy. Very, very different individuals. Both very, very inspiring, though. Love them both. Anyway, thank you guys for all of your questions tonight. I'm going to be wrapping it up because it's been a long day for me. Okay, you know what? Oh my God, there's nothing there. What? I looked behind me. Wow. What a good prank. You got me. Oh, I feel so defeated. Is that what you wanted? Does that make it feel better? Anyway, thank you guys for all of your donations and in your comments. There will be a wireless charging video tomorrow morning. Well, not tomorrow. Today morning. This morning in about 9 hours. Anyway, I got goofed. Dang it. Now you're all going to get goofed. Ha. Take it back. Just blew in 100 people's ears. Enjoy. Anyway, this is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.